Hey, hey, what's going on, everybody? You are now live with the Wise Men. It's your boy
What's going
Twice.
on, bro?
What's good, everybody? And we just wanted to welcome y'all to Wise Men Old Word Episode 2, where we'll be discussing Micaiah Bryant on today. Just to let everybody know, the title of this episode is O Word, and that's Obey His Word. What's good, fellas? I see we get Classmatic in the house. What's up, Classmatic?
What's up, my bro? How you doing today?
Man, I'm blessed, man. Been blessed, been running all day, but been looking forward to getting here to chop it up on this topic today, man. EH, what's good?
What's up, Twice Born? What's good, fellas?
Man.
What
Mike
up,
the
baby?
Archangel, what's cracking?
What's happening, family? What's good with y'all?
All right.
Bless, brother. Bless. Following Mike the Archangel, we got my brother Mike Victory. What's up, Mike
Yes,
Vic?
sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, fellas?
And
Yes,
last but
gentlemen.
not least, we got our brother Rose Zay. What's going on with you, Zay?
You see how
Jose.
I switched that up one time. What's going
I
on,
see,
wise man? What's
I
going on,
see that.
everybody?
I see that. Look, before we jump into this, man, of course, we just want everybody to know that on today's episode 2, we'll be discussing Micaiah Bryant. I don't want to say the last shooting because we have actually had one since then, but a
Oh, wow.
recent shooting in Columbus, Mississippi. Not Columbus, Mississippi.
Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. Micaiah Bryant, and we got an article here from the Columbus Dispatch in Columbus, Ohio, and I just want to read a little bit of that to give us a perspective of what one expert who studies these type of incidents had to say. And the Columbus Dispatch reads, an Ohio criminal justice professor who studies the fatal use of force by law enforcement officers didn't hesitate. Let me back up. We're going to start this thing off right. Classmatic, give us a prayer, bro. Prayers in.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Uh, dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just ask, Lord, that you cover this podcast, Father, that you ask that, Father, not a little bit, but all the glory goes to you, Father. We ask that this begins a healing process, Father, so that we can talk about things and get things out there, Father. We ask that you just cover this whole conversation, and we make sure that we stay focused on you, and we do it from a Christian perspective, and we pray for this in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
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 Amen. All right,
Amen.
now,
Amen.
now that
Lord.
we've started correctly, my bad. We're gonna go back to the article
Amen.
titled "This
You all
Columbus
right?
Dispatch." We're gonna go back to the Columbus Dispatch, where it reads: An Ohio criminal justice professor who studies the fatal use of force by law enforcement officers didn't hesitate to render an opinion after watching a body camera video of a Columbus police officer fatally shooting a 16-year-old girl last Tuesday afternoon on the city's south side. These are his words. It reads, my first impression is that the officer was legally justified in using deadly force, said Philip Stinson, a Bowling Green State University professor who has compiled nationwide statistics on fatal shootings that have led to criminal charges against officers. It goes on to read, he says it's a terribly tragic situation, and my heart goes out to the girl and her family and friends, he said. But from looking at the video, it appears to me that a reasonable police officer would have had a reasonable apprehension of an imminent threat of serious bodily injury or death being imposed against an officer or someone else. That's the legal standard. So what this one professional had to say, man, is that after looking at the video, he felt like it was justifiable. You know what I'm saying? So first and foremost, I know we pray. We definitely want to pray, continue to pray for those who knew Micaiah Bryant, that loved her, and just everybody else involved, man. So we're gonna jump into the first question. All right, guys.
Right on, man. Let's
All
get
right, the
that.
Sir.
first question
Yeah.
is, and I think this is one that we'll let everybody answer. I know sometimes just for the sake of time we kind of jump around, but this one I'm gonna call y'all individually, man, and we just gonna go and see how you personally feel. The question is, do you believe the shooting was justified? We're gonna start with Classmatic because he's first on the screen.
I'll keep it short and I'll say yes.
All righty. EH.
I'm gonna keep it short and say no, it's not justified.
All righty. Well, we got a little time. EH, do you want to elaborate on why you think it might not be? We're gonna let everybody do that. I'll come back to you, classmate. Why, in a short little phrase, why do you think it's not justified?
Well, I know there's a bunch of questions we want to follow this with, but on a day like what was that? That's the same day that the officer from Minnesota got convicted. We had that happen. And my thing is, he didn't have to shoot. That's my thing.
Gotcha.
There's ways you handle things, but we're gonna elaborate on it a little bit.
Gotcha. All right, bouncing back to Classmatic. I know you said yes. Briefly.
Briefly, I would say, I think more of his muscle memory and training kicked in because in situations like that where he sees there's like imminent harm or danger, they're taught to shoot center mass and they're taught to shoot until the threat is completely, stopped. So I think he just went off of training, and he didn't take, black, white, or anything into the equation. He just went off of training.
Gotcha. All right. Next up, we got my boy Archangel.
I feel that the way to end anything imminent danger, yes, that was good. However, I feel like there could have been other ways that could have de-escalated it before it went to straight shot down dead. And so from seeing it, I'm not a police officer. I'm not even a military police officer. So therefore, I can't go into everything as far as what they go through, what their training cycle is. But from what I see, there could have been other ways to de-escalate it. So I think it was worth the shooting, but I don't think it was worth the shooting of death.
Gotcha, brother. Appreciate y'all perspective. Next up, Mike Vick.
Yes, sir. I'm going to say as well with my other brothers, I do believe it was justified in the sense that the threat was there. I think we all saw the knife and her charging towards the young lady in the pink. But I want to say I don't think he had to shoot her 4 times. But again, you look at it and say, okay, if he shot her, say, twice, and then she made it to the girl in the pink, cut her throat, and she died. Now he's responsible for, and then the girl he shot twice dies anyway. So now he's responsible for 2 deaths. So, and you think of all this going through his head, he's thinking, okay, I got to really stop this main threat in order for this to try to stop this immediately. So that's why, I feel like it was justified. He felt like he needed to do as much as he needed to do to stop this thing immediately. He pulls up, this girl got her arm cocked back, knife, and she's headed towards this other girl. He's got seconds, man, to really make an executive decision. And, unfortunately, I don't know what the other officer that was already there may have been saying on the radio as this guy was on his way, saying, hey, man, I've been trying to de-escalate this. It's not happening. I need backup. It's not happening. We don't know. And I'm not saying that was what was going on, but we just don't know. So as he pulls up, split second decision, knife, knife in hand, arm cocked back, let him fly. So I feel like that's what he felt he had to do, and it seemed like that was the thing to do at the moment.
Makes a lot of sense, bro. Ronze, my boy Rose Zay, what's your thought?
You know what? The way the world is now, I really don't. It's like a thin line between something being justified or not. We don't know the whole story. Well, I know I don't, but I just feel like I know I mentioned earlier that it seemed like it was some officers that were already there. So when the guy pulls up, I know you trained a certain way, but I know you're supposed to be trained to de-escalate situations. I feel like depending on what the call was from the other officer, I feel like he had time to assess the situation while he was driving there. He knew what pretty much was going on. So for the outbreak, the push and the shove, and I thought that should have been dealt with. And I believe cops are always trained to try to maim a person first, or hit a limb. I know you do center mass, but all the shootings I've been watching, man, it's been empty clips. No matter what the situation is, man. Everybody 10, 20, 30 shots. And it's like there's no chance to de-escalate anything, man. Everybody come up with gun blazing. That's all though.
I got you, man. Great perspectives, everybody. It's not a right or wrong answer. And if I had to answer, man, I think it's a tough situation. But when we look at everything, man, I guess I can't pick both. Justifiable shooting, yes. Overkill, I think, yes. I don't think it took 4 shots to stop what was going on. So we'll jump into the first question of everybody. If anybody wants to take the first stab at this, just shoot, man. The next question is, what, if anything, do you believe could have been done differently by the officer specifically?
Good question.
Yeah, very good question. So the officer that did the shooting, or the officer that was already there?
The officer that did the shooting.
Oh my.
If it was anything that the officer that did the shooting could have done differently, what do you think that would have been?
I mean, I'll take a stab. Yeah, I was about to say, I'll take a stab at it if they could have hopped down and just started tasing. I mean, but again, you know what I mean? It's one of those things like, you know, if she still made it to the other girl, that would have been for nothing.
Right. I agree. I get what you're saying.
He definitely could have jumped out and started tasing.
Gotcha. EH, what were you saying? Was that the same thing you were saying, EH?
Yeah, I was piggybacking off of Mike Vick. Could have pulled the taser, and you know, he didn't have to shoot her 4 times. You know, or he didn't have to shoot to kill. Could have shot her maybe in the leg, if anything. You know, but you know, his day gonna come in court. And we gonna see what's gonna happen.
All right. Next question. We'll do a part B to that, because I know from what it looks like, it definitely looked like to me, and I've heard this conversation as well amongst us and amongst others. One thing we want our viewing audience to know, man, that this is a brotherhood. It's a family. Some of us have known each other decades or better, but the core of us have been knowing each other at least 2 years, man, and we talk daily. You know what I'm saying? We talk about things that's going on in the world. We talk about things that's going on in our family. We keep each other prayed up and lifted up, period. But just with that, since that question came up within this question, if there was actually other officers on the scene before this officer even got there, Archangel, what do you think they could have done differently?
So, again, this is the part that really gets me, because we don't know what was said on the radio as he was approaching. They could have said, hey, we've done everything we could. We've gone through all the continuum of the force protection. And so this is where we're at right now. Be ready. It could have been that. It could have been, hey, we're at step 2 of 5 or 6 or 7. I don't know. And so I think just enough information that he should have got before he got there so he was well prepared is one thing. And also differently, I don't know if there's anything he could have done differently in that situation, especially if you're trained to, if no matter who started the fight, who rather is ending the fight. If someone's coming at someone with the intent to cause bodily harm or imminent danger, you got to do what you signed up to do. And my prayer, in all honesty, is just for Miss Bryant's family and everything, but also for him. Because we all human, and he did sign to protect and serve every human possible. And so regardless of what the situation was before he got the backstory, he saw someone was in imminent danger and he did what he could to protect that person. And I hope and pray that that was going on in his heart and in his mind as he went about those actions. But I want everybody, especially us as believers, to realize that he has a soul, he has a heart, he has a family. And as much as we want justice for the rights and wrongs, we got to have that human morality to realize that he has a soul and he has to be by himself at night and be held accountable under God and according to the laws of the land as well.
Right. I'm in agreement with that, man. My prayer is that whatever justice is, that it be served. If he had some type of malicious intent, it's my prayer that the Bryant family... Go ahead, class.
Oh, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I just wanted to ask Mike the Archangel a question, because I really felt what you just said. Do you feel the timing of it impacted the situation more because we had just had the verdict delivered on the Chauvin trial, and then that happened. So it kind of feels like almost like a blow to
Backlash.
the justice that we felt we just received.
I'll put it to like this. When you are in a pool and you go down, you hold your breath for like almost a minute, as much as you can. And so then you come back up to get that first breath. And as soon as you try to make that full exhale, you get pushed to go back down. That's what it kind of felt like. And so I really feel it did impact what was going on. And sometimes when you watch movies where you be like, yay, the character won, and it's like, oh, victory happened, and then all of a sudden, boom, something happened. You turn around and it goes like, to be continued. There's gonna be a part 2. That's almost what it felt like as well. It's like we didn't get a chance to fully exhale over the situation, and so yeah, it really did impact the joy. Came for one chapter to be closed, but then chapter 1 started halfway through the last page of that one chapter.
Hey, Classmatic, just to add on to what Mike Angel just said, after the Chauvin verdict, man, I just kind of processed it, to be honest, tearfully that day. And later on in that night, before I even woke up and found out about Ma'Khia Bryant, here's what my Facebook post read. Justice brought joy. It also provided hope. But I found myself tearfully praying that it brings true change. I pray it sooner than later, because this has become just about too tough to carry. So just adding to that point, it was like right when I got ready to exhale, some told me, you know what I'm saying, hey, suck some of that air back in, because the reality of it is this is just one case of so many. We finally got it. It's like when you finally, somebody offer you something, you get a taste of it. And at that point in time, you decide if you want some more. And it's like we got a taste of it, but then I had to realize, hey man, tomorrow is coming, and little did I know that an incident had already happened. Anybody else want to tap into that before we go to the next question?
Not too much. I mean, I would like to say me personally, I don't think they were. I don't think that, a lot. I've heard people ask, which I don't think this was the question you were actually asking, if it was like maybe necessarily related. I've heard people say that it seems like one spark, like the one sparked the other, so to speak, and I don't feel like they were related. In case anybody is actually wondering that, or that's kind of the sentiment out there. Me personally, I don't feel like they were related.
All right, before we jump into the next question, hello to all our listeners. We got some wise men that's watching online. Pat PSLP threw up hands. I see Q and Dead saying shout out, good stuff, great point. So we thank the wise man is not live today for actually jumping in and commenting from the stands. You know what I'm saying? That's how supportive we are for one another. If we ain't on stage, we in the audience, and we backstage clapping too, man.
Oh, quick drop. Was it that Dej and that Q that dropped a new joint recently? So fast out to them, yo.
Till I'm in the dirt. Shout out to our two wise men,
that thing is fire.
Who dropped a banger this week, man, for real.
That's gas.
All right.
Yeah. Moving on all to this platforms, y'all go check it out.
Exactly. It's by Dej P featuring Survivor Q, Till I'm in the Dirt. Next question. Absolutely. What, if anything, do you believe could have been done differently by Miss Bryant? Ma'Khia.
Oh man. That's tough, man. I said that. That's tough, man. Just in nature, women are more emotional, man. So sometimes it's kind of hard for them to stop. Once their mind is set, they'll go and deal with the repercussions after. I don't know if it was much for her to do. Being 16, being not too much in control of herself at that age. I mean, I know 16 for me. I know I was uncontrollable, man, in certain situations, man. So I just wish that I believe the other two girls were older, right?
Or from my understanding, they were adults. Everything's still unfolding, but I've been hearing adults since day one. I even heard the 911 call today in an article that Classmatic sent. And the girl said there's some women over here trying to fight us and stab us.
Yeah, man.
And the guy that was kicking the lady on the ground, he was
Yeah, I
It's
think we're
just
gonna get to that. That was
we're just
different.
we just been
Different.
it's like we just been conditioned, man. We've been conditioned. We've been conditioned and desensitized to a lot. So
Yeah.
everything's starting to be regular, man. And I hate that it's like that, especially with our kids, man. They can go to jail for life younger. So now they get tried as adults, so they want them to have adult reactions. But the simple fact, the young lady, 16, man, uh, it was sad. And even what you said, Mike Archangel, when you said, you know, that officer, man, he has to protect himself. I don't feel like it was malicious. I did feel like it was adrenaline, man. But as far as the young lady, I don't think it was much she would have been able to do.
Yeah, and even with the point you just said, Zay, when we looking for justice, I know I said something about if it was malicious earlier, but I think it comes a time to play where if everything was done by the book and is justifiable, just my personal belief that if adrenaline maybe had some type of weight in it, then I think that should be an issue right there. If adrenaline had any type of weight in a situation and made him make
Right.
another decision. Anybody else on what Miss Bryant could have done differently?
Hey, I'm gonna say this, man. Being that we saw what we saw on the news, we didn't get a chance to really know what happened with her and the women. She did have a knife. The officer did shoot, but the goal, like Mike Archangel, is to protect and serve. Obviously, we as individuals gotta calm ourselves down first and assess the situation. I'm pretty sure if she was still here today, she would look back on it differently. And like Zay said, it's just we have to be more receptive of the situation.
Gotcha. All right. Anybody else want to touch about on Miss Bryant, or we can just go to the next question?
Real quick, I agree with EH is saying, and also, like, we just gotta keep in mind that we just had kids going back to school, and just the fact that we've been through the pandemic and we just now introducing kids back to school, and this is what we got to deal with, dealing with the bullying, besides, of course, the inevitable cyberbullying that's been rampant in the last couple of years. But now we're going back. Like, we asked the question, what could have she done differently? But what if she felt like she couldn't do anything differently? What if this was something that she's been gearing up for a couple of years? Like, they said they're going to come at me and I don't know anybody else is going to help me. And so I think the problem is deeper than just this situation. It has to go back to, why does she feel like she need to carry that? Knowing that you can't be carrying a knife at that age anyway, why does she feel like she need to go out there and that was her only means of protection, just to go to school and come home?
You muted twice.
That's a great point. I think.
Great point. Go ahead, class.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, we also got to take in consideration, I guess the two adults there were, they were former residents of, the home. So they had a relationship with Mrs. Moore, who was like over everything. So apparently they were picking on her, like telling her she wasn't cleaning up enough and stuff like that. And she snapped. And if you a kid, and you getting all this from adults, kids react like kids. So she reacted in a aggressive manner, and in her mind probably thought she was defending herself from being attacked. And I don't think anyone can judge, her, since no one was in her shoes and felt what she felt. But that's how she expressed her emotions at the moment. Where the correct thing to do? No, not necessarily. But when you're running off of emotions and not logic, everything goes out the window. I'm pretty sure all of us have been in situations to where we're in brawls and nothing is really going on in your head except at that time except survival. And that's the only thing. You don't think of right and wrong, you just think about surviving.
Right.
Exactly.
You feel
Yeah,
like
man, and some of that kind of goes into the next question, brothers. Somebody can pick it up because I think it's one point in particular that we all kind of felt like, man, what was on this guy's mind? But the next question just goes into what, if anything, do you believe should have been done differently by surrounding bystanders? I'll put it like this: all them folks out there, all them people out there, and it looks like other officers was on the scene before the shooting officer got there. What could have been done to control this situation before a shooting even happened? Shoot.
Oh man, you know everybody out there failed that young girl miserably. There were too many adults out there to even let um, them all be in the same vicinity like that. You know what I mean? Those other two, the other two women that were, you know, I guess whatever the aggressors to her. They should have all the adults there should have kept all three of them separated from the beginning and really figured out what was going on and try to make sure like it doesn't get escalated to any out of hand. You know, just make sure it doesn't get out of hand, and including the officer. And just it just you know. So I really feel like that should have been done first and foremost.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree with. I agree with that as well. Unless the other officers pulled up simultaneously, which I doubt, because when the camera was panning, I believe I saw squad cars already there. I might be mistaken, but that's what I saw. The thing is, I'm looking at how their car was parked. It was kind of just pulled up to the driveway sideways, like they probably hopped out with malicious intent. I didn't know where the knife came from because I didn't see it in the young lady's hand when she did charge. So now I'm thinking the one that got pushed to the ground might have been the one holding the knife at the same time. So y'all coming for me. And the grandma or the mother, the grandma, whatever the case is, and her husband, I saw him. He could have been doing something different instead of kicking the girls on the ground. Yeah. You know, you might would have been trying to do better in restraining your daughter or whoever whoever she is to him. Man, it was just crazy. It was a lot of confusion at that one time. But if it was officers there, that's my main thing. Like, what are you guys doing? Are you calling this guy to de-escalate everything, or what is your duty?
Right.
You're supposed to sit there and watch. It's like, is it a show? We're just gonna let them sit back and cancel each other out.
That's how I don't know. If this was an onion and we pulling back the layers, man, there was so many things that just kind of left me like, first of all, you were just standing there. Second of all, when Micaiah charged a young lady that hits the ground, you kick at her head like that's whether that was a kid or full-grown woman, like who kicks a woman in the head, period, while she's down? Like, I mean, you know, that one was just kind of mind-blowing to me. EH, you got anything, bro? Just about how those people in the community may have
kicking her in the head, that's crazy. I mean, again, we still don't really know what really happened, why the adults there didn't intervene, even before the police was called. I mean, we asking for the officers to be held accountable. Now the adults need to be held accountable there. This young lady lost her life.
Hey, and I think this came up in one of our conversations throughout the week. The way we came up, when adults even came outside, if we didn't stop when they came outside, the first time one spoke, everything ceased. At that point, it was like, I see you at the bus stop, partner. Like, I see you at school. Like, we didn't continue to fight amongst. When they showed up, it was over with. Less known them sitting there while it's going on. So, yeah, man, it's just a lot to dissect, a lot that we have to find out, a lot that we have to know. Anybody else with any input?
Let me interject real quick twice. Let me
go ahead,
piggyback off what you said. Now, you were saying that you know, back in the days, we straightened up, you know, when the adults came out. You know, we messing up, we straighten up, right? you know, these days, the generation, they don't understand how we were raised, and then our forefathers, how they was raised, because we got a lot of old school traditions. So the youngsters, man, it starts with them, man. You know, it starts with them. I think I heard this somewhere, maybe it was in a group, that you know, we as a community, as Black people, we need to start coming together and love on one another.
Right. That's real, man. You know, and I'm not gonna get too far off subject, but if you were thinking about it, when we was coming up, when grown folks was talking, man, we couldn't even be in the room. Go upstairs, go to your room. It's too much youth and kids in grown faces. We couldn't even. You ain't hungry. We couldn't even walk through their conversation to get to the fridge.
You ain't hungry. Exactly.
You would eat at the appropriate time. Right now, we talking. If you hungry, you ain't gonna die. You know what I'm saying? So
you already had dinner. Right. You done already had dinner. Go on.
Right. Exactly.
A lot of parents
have changed, man. So we'll hop to the next question. How did it affect you emotionally, considering the proximity of time that it took place in relation to the revelation of the verdict of the Chauvin trial? And I know we kind of touched this, but specifically, and I think we got time. So, man, we're going to ask each one of y'all, how did this affect you emotionally, considering the close proximity to the Chauvin trial? Like, before we even could digest that, we had this. So, Archangel.
I know for me personally, it could have happened the same day, the next day, December 27th. It wouldn't have mattered. It would have affected me the same way,
right?
No matter what this year compared to anything else. I just think as a whole, just anything when it's blue lives on civilians, civilians on civilians, just death as a whole that comes unnatural. I think that's, you know what I mean? I just think it's something that I don't know if I could really see, like, feel nervous or even feel numb by it. I think no matter what, just because the death toll is so high when it comes to these things, murder, homicide, accidental deaths, I think anything besides natural causes is going to affect me in the same way, no matter what day, time, anytime this year, honestly.
Hey, man, that's real spit. That's real talk. Classmatic.
Yeah, I was just hurt. It was sad to see a young lady, lose her life like that, and that's about the gist of it. Was me. I was just hurt watching the whole thing.
Got you, Mike Victor.
Yeah, I gotta agree with the rest of the brothers, man. It was just saddening, man, to see a child, you know what I mean, lose her life like that. And especially, it's bad enough. Again, it's bad enough when it happens to our men, but now it's, this happened to a young lady that may possibly have grown up and given life as well. You know what I mean? So in that one life that was taken, we have no idea if the next black president was taken, if the next black whatever was taken. You know what I mean? At the same time, the first female president, she may have had a daughter that wound up being the first female president of the United States. You just never know what else was going to come from this young lady, and to see that cut down, man, like I said, it's hardening. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. It's just real saddening, and it just most of us, if not, well, actually, I think all of us. I'm not sure, Archangel. If I may have forgotten, but other than that, all of us have kids, and you always think, if that was my child, I mean, that's the first thing you think when you see something like that happen to someone that young. You think, man, if that was my child, and it just breaks your heart, man. And like the brother said, man, we just pray that we can start re-educating our young people to react different, re-educating the adults to teach different, to be more patient, to give more information, different things like that, man. And then, all those things come to mind. It's like, this didn't have to happen.
Agreed. Agreed. Before we go to EH, man, I found a way to do this. Since you was kind of talking about the kids, I seen that one of our listeners, Takeem Ray Brown, when we were just kind of talking about the other situation, he said what happened is parents became their children's friends versus disciplining them. You know what I'm saying? Like we said, they couldn't even be a part of our parents. So of course, we talk, we already know when there's a situation going on with our kids, we handle that. But the reality of it is, it's a lot of that not going on. And another comment he said before we go back to EA, he just said when we was talking about raising kids the right way, he said that was that OG home training.
Home training, right?
And here go one of our wise man brothers, Jermaine Jerk Paul. He said, people in the community are scared of the youth.
Wow.
That's real talk. But EH, now we're going to call on you, brother, bouncing back to that same question about how did you feel considering the proximity of this happening within the same proximity of the Chauvin trial?
Well, I feel the same way the rest of the brothers do. That was the day that everybody was waiting for, that verdict. And, we wanted to hear something that was going to give the Floyd family and the rest of the world peace, and then it was martyred with, the young lady losing her life. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. Like Mike said, this lady could have been somebody, man. And her life was cut short, man. It's sad, man. Sad.
Definitely. Zay?
Yeah, man. It started, my pastor dad always told me, I always had a habit of saying like they, they, like them people, and not being specific, but we fighting a war and it's spiritual, man. So it never was about color, man. You know what I mean? So I'm always disheartened seeing anything like that, because everybody loses when a family feuds, man. So it's somebody not going home, the young lady not going home, the mother lost a daughter. The cop has to deal with what he has to deal with as far as disciplinary action, the guilt, I ain't gonna say the guilt, but just the hurt on his heart that he had to, he had to shoot a 16-year-old girl. He might have to go home to a 16-year-old daughter. You know what I mean? And like Takeem said that, how we were raised and people are friends, parents are friends to their kids now, man. I definitely want to say we have a lot to do with it as far as making right decisions as men, because we've all made mistakes. Some of us have been incarcerated, and that's the time taken away from our children to try to educate them to being a man. I see a lot of young men that bicker back and forth like girls, because they've been raised by their mom and their sisters, man. So this is just some of the vices that our community has suffered from, man, that leaves us in situations like this, even in games, man. I be hearing the young homies like, oh geez, yeah, whatever. I wish you would try to discipline me. You know what I mean? So the code is way different now, man.
Respect.
That's facts, man. If I could just add to that, how I felt. I'm trying to put a not a time frame, but a time stamp on it. I felt probably how I felt. I know I felt like this before George Floyd, before Ahmaud Arbery, before Breonna Taylor. The best thing I could say is just exhausted and drained, man. And y'all probably have seen me say this on my social media, probably have heard it come out of my mouth. It's something that I've almost become numb to. And it's sad, period. But even in situations like this, where it looked like, I think, the most of us kind of said the shooting was justifiable. We might feel like 4 was too many, but it's gotten to the point now to where even if it's justifiable, it knocks the wind out of us, bro, because it's been normalized, and to a certain degree, it's feel like we've been dehumanized, man. It's an African American person. It's no telling what they're gonna do to us. Shoot. I can't even remember the representative out of South Carolina when another situation happened. How she got a phone call. Remember, I dropped it in the group.
Right.
Where there was a elder Caucasian lady called, and just her verbiage of what she said, like she left this on a elected official's voicemail, like this is what black people do to us. We're scared they're gonna rob us, and it's just the reality of it is, man. It's a lot of people that have it in their mind that we're harmful. We could potentially 99.9% of the time be up to no good, and that's where we at, man. So we got to find a way to the world. I'm not gonna put that on us. I didn't mean it like that. The world has to find a better way to view us as equal and look at us as. I'm gonna say this before I move to the next question. I've even been in a conversation where I've pretty much heard like, man, that person is just not like you twice. What do you mean that's just not like me? You don't even know that person. You don't know how that person is. You know, we see something in the media, we don't really know that person attributes or how they move around. You know what I'm saying? We don't know that, but it's a fear, man, that's had for us. Next question. I think this might be the last question. We'll see how we go from there. Why aren't more videos of police shootings and violence of other than those involving African Americans not circulated as much by the media? Let's repeat that again. We're gonna even chop it up like this. We know that things don't just happen to us. We're gonna keep it 100. It happens to other races, other demographic backgrounds, other nationalities. Why do those videos not hit the news and become breaking news like they do with African and all of that? You know, what happens to us gets circulated more than any other nationality.
It's Willie Lynch.
I'll take a stab at this. Well, you know, it kind of speaks to what you were just talking about. You know what I mean? You know, during slavery time, man, we cook the food, we watch the kids. So but we've been propped up as animals and savages. But during slavery time, we drove everybody to where they had to go. We cooked the food, we watched the kids. If we were that much of animals and savages, there's no way somebody would let you watch their kids and cook your food. Okay, so you know that is not the case. So now it's one of those things to where we still need to make sure people feel this way about this group of people. So once we do that, we will create the narrative. We put this type of thing out there, and then now we say, hey, this group of people, this is what's happening to you. Aren't you mad? Doesn't that make you mad? How do you feel about that? And try to get the response that they are telling people. And to your point, they, you know what I mean? They, and this is the power structure. This is, you know, whoever, what the case may be, the 5 corporations that own every news outlet. Okay. This is say, okay, put this out there and say, hey, you know, aren't you mad? Where, you know, don't you want to react to that? And wait for the reaction so they can say, see, this is what we've been telling you all this time. And so this isn't the narrative painted for any other racial group or ethnic group. So that's why I feel like it's for us, it's put out there more, and it's basically to get a reaction from us so we can appear as they've always the picture that they've always painted of us.
Gotcha. And put the stamp right there. Here was my thought. I just felt like when I first read the question, man, they want us to stay angry. That was just mine. Keep them angry. And Wise Man Jerk said he don't think it happens as much. That was his intake on it. But even with that being said, Brother Jerk, it may not happen as much, but can let the world hear about it sometime. You know what I'm saying? They want to say that we always bringing up old stuff and we're stuck in certain ways. Well, I feel like if that stuff is happening to if these things are happening to other races, then put it on the media too. Let them know it's a global issue as well, if that's the case. Anybody else? Archangel, Zay, class?
All right, so I'm gonna start off. 1, stop Asian hate. 2, there's brown pride involved. And 3, let's stop discriminating against our Native American families, our indigenous people. So with that being said, there are so many reasons why it feels like, they're picking on us. It could be an agenda, it could be a media thing. But when it comes to entertainment and when it comes to posting, when it comes to trending, we're kind of like the number one when it comes to sending this stuff out. So if we're the number ones coming to send this stuff out, we're probably going to be the number ones getting it taken back to us. Now, it kind of sucks because of the fact that we're the number one consumers of this digital media outlet, seemingly so. So we're going to be the first ones when anything goes sour, we're going to be put on blast by it. But it's always been ones where we've been put on blast since we were the first ones to really say something like, yo, this is not fair. Let's stand up for ourselves. They're always the one that stand up for themselves first in the class is the first one to go to the principal's office. And so that kind of sucks in the sense, but I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's just an observation. But also with everything that's going on, especially during this pandemic time where a lot of people have been standing inside and seeing things from the outside looking in, we're all seeing that it goes throughout all media, it goes throughout all groups and all villages. What Zay was talking about, how like, we used to be where other people held each other accountable for. It used to be a village. It used to take a village to raise a child. But now everybody has their own individual villages because not everybody's going down to a certain community. Your community is online and digital. And so with those online digital communities, it almost makes it feel as if, because you're seeing what you see, it's the worst. And what's more popular out there is, unfortunately, those of a lighter shade of brown or a darker shade of brown, I should say. And so I don't know if someone that's not us feel that way, but I can understand if they did see it that way.
Yeah,
Good point.
I agree.
It's up here right quick. Miss Twice had a comment. I'm gonna take it off for a minute so that I can read it all. This comment says, also during slavery times, there were black slave codes, and these interactions mimics that so much that people of color are tired and everyone realizes it. But not until now did more people that are not minorities begin to get bold enough to speak on it and more call it for the systemic issue that it is. So some of this stuff we dealing with, it didn't just start. You know what I'm saying? It goes back deep, and it's just that we didn't get fed up.
I mean, they've always hung people publicly. You know what I mean? So so it'd be a lesson to these people and those people. So kind of like what I was saying in regards to like you said, like slavery, they're gonna make sure you see this, and the younger generation also will grow up thinking, okay, well, and it would hopefully even kind of make our younger generation more docile, feeling like that could happen to me as they continue to grow. You know what I mean? And say, okay, well, when the things start happening and they feel like, okay, well, it will inflict fear in them, as these things are constantly seen. So, and that, again, that's why it's put out there. So like I said, I mean, there's a lot of, I believe there's a lot of intent behind why we're seeing more than anyone else. But again, like for that same reason, they hung people public. People feel like I do this, the other group of people will start to feel like this may happen to me, and the cycle continues.
Right, and that's kind of what George Floyd for me was. Just thinking about what you saying and what the comment from Tay said. For me, George Floyd was literally a public lynching.
Right.
That's exactly it. He wasn't hung. We know how.
That's what I was going to say, man.
Absolutely
his life ended, but that was that. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what that was. And, in a sense, as we say, right?
In a sense, right?
Absolutely.
Zay, were you going to say something or EH?
You want to say something, EH?
Go ahead, Zay. You
okay? Go ahead. I was going to say it started freezing up. I was going to say piggybacking off what Tay said. That's what I was alluding to earlier. Even with the whole Willie Lynch situation, where you had the different hues of slaves, pretty much making us hate each other. On top of that, but the devil he wants to create confusion, man. So when we are put up in the public eye, breaking news all the time. I believe it's to create anger and fear, to have more confusion. Because some of us, the more militant, you got different religious groups, that real aggressive. The white man, the devil. You know what I mean? So it's stirring up stuff in every community: white, black, Asian, Native American, Hispanic. But it's kind of like since a lot of minorities, we are, being heard, voices being heard to an extent. I feel like he's pushing, the devil's pushing more of this stuff on us so that it could be, he trying to, man, some type of the end of time, man.
Definitely. I heard Pastor Dad say it last night, but we definitely in perilous times, man. It's
perilous times.
Perilous times.
Man, I'm just gonna piggyback off of what all the other brothers said, man. Seeing the whole George Floyd thing go down, the way it went down. Man, my grandparents, they were slaves, man. My dad's mother and father, man. My grandmother was Aunt Jemima, and my grandfather, he was out on the cotton line working with my dad, man. So in today's times, people finally starting to see what we go through, and it's so easy to put us out there on Front Street because they look at us and say, oh, we do bad stuff. No, not everybody that's black, African American do bad things. Everyone has their own mix of bad, whether it's white, black, Asian. It's just the times we live in, man. I think Pastor Dad always say this: be good to everybody. It takes that back to what my grandmother used to tell me: treat people how you want to be treated.
Right, and like Pastor Dad said, be good to everybody, and everybody means
everybody.
No picks and chooses.
No
color. Good to that's why the world like it is, man. People picking and choosing who they want to be loving to, who they want to be kind to. Be good to everybody. Listen, viewers, be good to everybody, and everybody means
everybody.
Everybody.
We all child of God, man. That's
it. That's real talk. Classmatic, did you want to say something, bro?
I don't know how my connection is, so I don't know how much I want to go in. I know it's real choppy.
Yeah, it just got back choppy again.
Yeah, so I'll pass. I'll hop in on a later, but I concur with everybody.
Sounds good. But for everybody that's tuned in, man, the wise men are comprised of brothers from all over. I'm in Mississippi. Classmatic is going from one part of Texas to another part of Texas right now. EH, let them know where you from.
We got the California connection over here. I'm in LA, west of Inglewood. Yes, sir.
All right, Zay.
I'm in the city of Carson. That's the city north of Long Beach, southwest of Compton. If y'all don't know.
There it is. My boy Mike Vick, where you at, bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, right now I'm in Long Beach, but I'm on my way back to Ontario, where I live at right now.
Okay. Look here, Mike Angel, the Archangel.
Yo,
the East Coast.
I'm in the nation's capital, DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. You know where it is.
Oh, boom.
East Coast.
I don't know where that is.
And look, Q said
the District of Columbia.
Survivor Q said he's not on, but he wants y'all to know if you look down in the little box, he representing Inglewood.
He be over there heavily. He be over there heavily banging. Man, if you don't knock it off.
Listen, man.
Hey, we just grinding. We grinding.
Everybody that does not know, this Old Word podcast is going to be broadcast every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific. That's going to be 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern time. And we also have a show that's called Underrated, which kind of highlights underrated artists. And that's going to be Wednesday nights. What time is that again, George? I got it right here. Class
6 Pacific.
Okay. Well, on Wednesday nights, y'all tune into the same channel, man, at 6 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. Some of us are artists, man, and we're going to all pull in an underrated artist, man, for the week. to expose y'all to some of this Christian hip hop, man, from I don't want to just say brothers, but from individuals that you may have never heard of before. So yeah, tune in for Underrated Wednesday. If you are west, 6 p.m. If you Central Time, 8 p.m. If you are out east, 9 p.m. And O-Word gonna be brought to you every Sunday at the same time. Any closing words for any of the brothers, man? We got about 4 minutes.
I just want to say that Underrated segment, that's a dope segment, man. Y'all did a great job on Wednesday. I loved it.
Salute.
That's what's up. And I already got my next artist, and she a female too.
So
just so y'all know, yeah.
That means bring. He got one that's gonna bring the heat.
I just want to say something serious, man.
Okay, go ahead.
I love you, bros, man, from the bottom of my heart, man. And a wise man once told me, "Go Lakers." Okay.
Here you go. My boy said he had to say something serious.
And I want to say thank you. Tay hopped up on here. What's my brother name? Takeem, man. We'll keep building it. I appreciate all the feedback and love, everybody.
Yeah,
that was awesome, man. That was definitely awesome. Appreciate
some of the people that commented was Tay, Takeem, Survivor Q. I think I seen Dedge on there. Pastor Dad was backstage. My daughter Demaria, who is in college at Mississippi State, tuned in, so that was huge for me, man. When you can get your kids to tune in, man, that just do something.
Man, that's something. Yeah, you're doing something.
Right, and then there was someone at the beginning that was posting Sabino Palestino tuned in, and those just the people that had commented. At one point in time, I seen we had a nice little amount of live viewers, so we definitely thank each and every one of y'all, man. And just know, hey, we just getting started. We're gonna continue to bring y'all good content. For those that watched last week, we discussed the life of DMX. This week it was Micaiah Turner, and we're gonna try to keep it current and relevant, right, brother?
Yes, sir.
No doubt.
All right. But before we go out, put in work. That's that Dedge P and Survivor Q. Before we go, if anybody want to find us on Instagram, it's Wise WYSE_MEN. On Instagram, it's Wise WYSE_MEN. On Facebook, go to your search bar, type in Wise Men WYSEMEN, and you'll see that gold logo as the profile picture. Connect with us, build with us until we see each other again. We love y'all. Peace.
Yes, sir.
Peace. From the bottom, fellas.